Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the individuals participating in the show. All persons described or mentioned in the podcast should be considered innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. This podcast contains subject matter such as violence and graphic descriptions along with adult language, which may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Christmas time. Supposed to be filled with joy and celebration. Unfortunately, it doesn't stop tragedies from happening. Tonight we cover two cases where tragedy strikes for seemingly no reason at all. But is there more to these mysteries? Let's find out. You're listening to the Mysterious Brews podcast, and tonight we bring you the cases of Rhonda Henson and Tracey Martens.
Welcome to a deep, dark, dank, moist basement somewhere in the bowels of Georgia. Well, Coachum, did Santa Claus come down your chimney, leave you little gifts?
He did. I had a great Christmas, man.
I saw you got some new slippers.
Yeah, I got me some Bigfoot slippers from my sister-in-law. I got a Blackstone grill from my in-laws.
You straight up hibachi man?
Huh?
I said you straight up hibachi man now?
Dude, it's so much better than a propane. Like, I got a dual propane, and one side's propane, one side's charcoal. And I love the charcoal side, but that propane side is just too hard to clean. And that Blackstone pretty much took over that job. That propane side's probably not ever going to be used again. And because it's so good, man. You put some bacon up on anything, and it's like, what?
I know, man. There's a guy, we always go to his house for New Year's Eve. We've been going since my son and his son were, I don't know, 4 or 5. And his son got one for his birthday back in June, July. And they have been cooking the shit out of stuff on it.
I know. It's the accessories are kind of expensive, but you know, you got to have them.
Well, Academy's got a great deal on there, except they've got a full line.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man. I would definitely check out Academy. And Academy is where I get all my wood chips, and I know you don't have one, but I've got a pellet smoker, and they have some of the best pellets.
Well, I got a smoker box on my charcoal side, but not a pellet. You're right.
Now, I had an old charcoal grill. The ash pan finally fell through its ass, and I had to wedge treated 2x4s to hold it in place just to get the Christmas turkey smoked. When it happened, I was out there wedging stuff, and I had like weights and stuff, like cinder blocks, trying to keep the 2x4s wedged up in there. And I was like, you just got to hold together for an hour and 10 minutes. That's all I need you.
Come on, baby. I need you. I need you more than ever.
I'm whipping her around turn 4. We got to make it to the finish line. So the good news is my son is a welder, and so I have tasked him with fabricating me a new ash pan.
Well, there you go. Put his ass to work.
That's what I told him. I said, son, we're about to make you a millionaire just doing ash pans. And he just kind of rolled his eyes. He's like, yeah, whatever.
He should be grateful for the work.
That's what I told him. He did buy him a welder at home for at-home stuff, and I'm like, heck yeah, I'm about to burn the neighborhood down.
I could see that easily. It was totally electrical. I was going to weld this ash pan, and my son said, you better not.
You better not. All right, boys and girls. We don't have anything on the Patreon front. I still want to thank thank all of our listeners for the kind words about my father. He is making a great recovery. A little slow in the recovery process, but that's okay. All of the thoughts and prayers and the nice messages were greatly appreciated. Hopefully everyone had a great holiday season. And as I like to say in the education world, it's now the doldrums until April.
Yeah, I'm glad to be out of that.
Shh, don't you rub it in, boy. Don't think I ain't been looking at changing careers, even though I got 6 left to get my 30.
It's miserable, man.
It is. It's god awful, and I will just leave it at that. We will not turn this into a bitch session, but
every session with you is a bitch session.
Well, not if I ain't been drinking.
Well, it's only 2 in the afternoon, so I hope you're not drinking yet.
Not yet. We did New Year's Eve. I did get to have a little flight of bourbon that I don't normally get to taste. We had some Wellers. We had some Eagle Rares, some Colonel Taylor.
Dang, where were you?
What's the one that's featured in John Wick? What's that? It's got the little horse on the top. Blanton's.
I've never seen John Wick. Can you believe that?
Dude, you need to watch at least the first 2. It's pretty good. Third one's okay too. I've not watched the 4th one, but the first 2 are pretty good.
I'm sure.
We were at his that buddy's house. He loves bourbon, and he's one of those that can tell you like the vanilla and the smoke overtones. And I'm like, no, man, it's just smooth.
Sounds like bourbon to me.
Yeah, it's still a little hot on the ass end, but no, all of those are extremely smooth. So, but anyway, and I was trying to think if there's anything else he had some kind of some whiskey something. It looks like milk in a damn whiskey bottle, but it's snow cream. Ooh. It's almost like no. Have you ever had snow cream when you was a kid? Like your mom would go out there and make snow cream?
No.
Well, for those listeners that know what I'm talking about,
I'm aware what it is. I've just never had it.
This bottle, it's only like 40%, so it's kind of like Kahlua. It's not going. You could drink the whole bottle and be okay, but it literally tastes just like snow cream. I'll have to get him to send me the picture of the bottle. It's good. It's good. I'll have to tell you how he bought it too off air because it's not for our listeners.
What? Oh, no. We got to hear now.
All right, boys and girls. So we are going to kick off this double feature with the case of Rhonda Henson as featured on Unsolved Mysteries. Do you have the season and episode number? Because I know Rain Man lives with you about Unsolved Mysteries.
She did. I asked her the name, and she was like, I don't remember everything. And then she named off like 7 things. And I was like, yeah, that's right. I think it's, I don't know. Look it up online. I think it's season 1, episode 7, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
But if you go to if you look up the name and go to unsolved.com, they'll give you a link, or just get on the YouTube.
So
type in her name, Unsolved Mysteries. Hold on, I'll tell you right now. Hold on.
Let him go.
Season 2, episode 7.
Oh, season 2, episode 7. Yes.
2, episode 7.
So in 1981, we are talking about the unsolved murder of Rhonda Henson in North Carolina. And on Tuesday, December 22nd of 1981, Rhonda, who had just turned 19 years old on the 13th of December, had a work Christmas party she was going to attend later that evening. And I'm going to screw this up. But anyway, Valdez is probably not how you say it, North Carolina. Rhonda's mother, Judy.
We complain about when people get Georgia names wrong. You just going to wing it on North Carolina.
In my defense, I did almost write these notes a month ago, so it's not my fault. It's probably Valdez or something like that. But Rhonda's mother, Judy, had even gone shopping that day to pick up a little skirt and sweater outfit for Rhonda to wear to her Christmas party. Now, Rhonda had debated about going to this party for a couple of reasons. First, her longtime high school boyfriend, Greg, was home from college for the winter break, and he didn't want her to go to the party. Yeah, Greg's a little possessive, and we'll get into that in a minute. But secondly, Rhonda didn't know that many people that were going to be there. She had only started her job about 5 months earlier, and she was a key punch operator at the Hickory Steel Company in Hickory, North Carolina.
We know how to say Hickory.
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 She had a good friend, Sherry Pittman, that she worked with, and this friend was also not real sure or keen on going to the old party. So Sherry and Rhonda talked a few times that day and again in the early evening hours, and finally made the decision that they were going to just suck it up and go to the party begrudgingly. So Rhonda told her parents that she planned on staying over at Sherry's that night after the party and left her house to drive over to Sherry's house. Once at Sherry's house, they decided to take Sherry's car to the party. Now, the party was being held at the American Legion in Hickory. And once there, they actually enjoyed the party. Sherry would later state that while at the party, Rhonda seemed very preoccupied. And toward the end of the party, sometime after midnight, both of the girls left and headed back to Sherry's house. Once they got to Sherry's house, Rhonda decided that she had changed her mind. She didn't want to stay over. So she called her boyfriend, Greg, from Sherry's and decided to go ahead and head home. Sherry and Rhonda say their goodbyes to each other, and Rhonda gets into her car, which was a brand new 1981 Datsun 210 Coupe. Rhonda pulled out of Sherry's driveway around 12:20 a.m. on the morning of December 23rd, headed up I-40 and exited on the Mineral Springs Mountain Highway / State Route 350 off-ramp. As she headed north on 350, right where the road began to go up a major incline, a single bullet was fired from a high-powered rifle, entering the truck of Rhonda's car. It continued through the trunk, through the back seat, and into the driver's seat, striking Rhonda in her back.
We said it went through her heart.
Yeah.
They hit her in the back, but through her heart.
Yeah.
Awful.
Hit her heart and lung before exiting. Now, sometime after 1 a.m., a passerby saw the Datsun on the road with the driver's door open. So as they approached the car, they noticed that it was still running and saw a young lady lying in the ditch. This was less than a mile from Rhonda's house. Authorities from both the Valdez Police Department and the Burke County Sheriff's Department arrived on the scene fairly quickly, and investigators quickly realized that this was not a car accident, but a murder scene. And kudos to these police departments because they realized they needed some help and immediately called in the State Bureau of Investigations to assist. Bravo. Bravo. Investigators went to Rhonda's home that morning around 3 a.m. and knocked on the door, and her mother, Judy, answered. And right away, Judy knew this was not good. Most of the time when somebody shows up at 3 a.m., especially if it is some type of law enforcement, we are not dealing with roses here.
Not at all.
And she immediately collapsed. And after coming to and getting her to sit down, authorities do inform Judy and Rhonda's dad, Bobby, along with her 13-year-old brother, Robert, that Rhonda had been killed by a sniper with one bullet while coming up the road less than a mile from her house. Now, this is not something anyone would ever expect to hear about how their daughter passed away. Now, the investigators were able to determine that the single shot came from a vehicle that was parked under the I-40 bridge on Mineral Springs Road. They also put the shot at being fired around 1:04 a.m. Investigators later learned that a witness had seen a dark blue or a black Chevy parked there earlier in the evening. And talking about a great shooter, or we talking about a lucky shot? And that's what investigators were pondering.
That's a heck of a shot, man.
Yeah. Because they said upon the being struck by the bullet, she did die instantly and lost control of her car, hitting the ditch and then rolling back into another ditch on the other side of the road. But somehow She was thrown from the car either by the impact into the ditch, or investigators postulated that the shooter may have drug her out to make sure the shot was successful.
Yeah, they said something about like it looked like her hands had been purposely placed in that in the position they were in.
Yes, and unfortunately, Rhonda's funeral services were held on Christmas Day in her hometown of Valdez. She was laid to rest at the Burke Memorial Park, and it just devastated her mother, Judy. Rhonda was actually born on December 13th, 1962, in Valdez to Robert and Judy Henson. She had a younger brother, Robert Jr., who was 6 years younger. Her parents, Bobby and Judy, met when they were just 16 years old. They fell in love and eventually married. Now, the couple had moved from South Carolina to North Carolina to start their family. Bobby worked in a bakery, and Judy worked as a daycare teacher at a local church. Now, Rhonda's parents and friends stated that she was a delight to be around. Everyone that knew Rhonda liked her, and she never disliked anyone. She was known to be a very happy person, was the type of person that always had a smile on her face. And Rhonda was still friends with some of her elementary school friends. And it was said that Rhonda was always trying to please people in her life. She didn't smoke, she didn't drink, she didn't do any drugs. In high school, Rhonda had been an outstanding tennis player and had won some championships for the East Burke County High School. And she was not only good at tennis, but she was also a star basketball player and was pretty good at track. Now, outside of sports, Rhonda had a love for music and played the clarinet in the high school band. She was an outgoing, attractive young woman who had a lot of things going for her, and she loved life. During her last 2 years in high school, she started dating her boyfriend, Greg. And Greg was the son of a reverend from a local church. Dang church kids. The State Bureau of Investigations and the Burke County Sheriff started looking into the case by interviewing people Rhonda went to school with, people she worked with, her friends, her family, and, of course, boyfriend Greg. Judy told investigators that over the last few weeks, Rhonda had been acting kind of strange, and it was like she wasn't her normal happy, chipper self. Rhonda and boyfriend Greg had been arguing over the phone and through letters. Yes, it was that long ago. They still wrote letters. Since he was away at college.
You know, like kids today, you know how we always say kids today, like most of them don't even know how to address an envelope.
Sir, most of them don't know how to write a complete sentence with a pencil and a piece of paper.
True. I mean, so I don't really know how to do that either.
Well, yeah,
I struggle sometimes.
We weren't going to bring up your short bus days, but go ahead. And yet here we are.
I've had friends, you know, being a special education teacher, I've got people that I train jiu-jitsu with, and they're just like, you know, he's like, man, you know, you tend to like take on the mannerisms and habits of people you hang out with. And he's like, and you hang out with special people. You never find yourself. I was like, come on, man. But yes, I do. My love of trains and things of that nature, being around autistic kids.
Oh, man. So Judy told investigators that Greg had always been a jealous boyfriend, and this was something that had started to bother Rhonda. Judy gave the police some letters that Greg had sent to Rhonda, and she also said that Rhonda tried to stay in contact with Greg's family while Greg was at college by going and visiting his dad, the Reverend. Now, Rhonda's mom said that in the weeks prior to her death, she had started going out after work and would come home and take a shower late at night. When Judy asked her why she was doing this, Rhonda told her that it was because she felt, quote, dirty, end quote.
And see, that's kind of a big indicator that somebody's being like sexually abused.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a huge red flag.
Judy also told investigators about some interesting comments that Rhonda had made to her during the weeks prior to her death. They were things like, quote, was it okay to date and be with a married man? What about an older man?" End quote. Judy said she told her, "Nope, that's not okay. You should not do that. It's never okay to be with a married man." And that's pretty strange coming from Rhonda and what we know about her character.
Right. Why would she be asking that?
Yes.
It's very strange.
Another red flag. Now, obviously, Judy thought that they were very strange because she divulged them to the investigators. It is odd because Rhonda had a boyfriend for a couple of years. Yes, he was away at school, but those are not questions you would expect your teenage daughter to have. My question is, what made her feel dirty that you're coming home to take a shower? So investigators talked to boyfriend Greg, who remembered telling Rhonda to call him as soon as she got back to Sherry's house so that he would know when she was leaving. So we do know that she did call him just before 12:30 a.m. When they spoke on the phone, she told him that she had an okay time, but she was tired and headed home. Greg asked Rhonda to call him once she got home, which he figured would be about 1 a.m. We can look at this a couple of different ways. One, Greg is a caring boyfriend, and he wants to make sure that she gets home okay because he's worried about her. The other way to look at it is Greg's a little controlling and untrusting. Now, we know from Rhonda's mother that he was the jealous type. And you can take it as he's concerned, but I think you can also take it that he was like, "Hey, you should be leaving at 12:30 and you better be home by 1 o'clock. Now, investigators re-interviewed some of the witnesses that they had previously talked to, but they also found 2 new witnesses. One of these new witnesses stated that he saw a black car parked under the bridge and thought it was either a Trans Am or a Firebird. He also said he saw 2 white men inside the car. Another new witness that investigators found said they drove by Rhonda's car after it hit the ditch, and they saw a white man standing over her door with her inside slumped over the steering wheel. This person, as they drove by, thought it was some type of like drunk driving accident and did not stop. They were able to tell investigators that they remembered seeing another vehicle that must have belonged to the man standing over Rhonda's car. They stated that it was a darker color, like a dark blue or maybe black, and keep in mind it's 1981. But even so, investigators were able to lift DNA off of Rhonda's sweater. They theorized that if this man that the witness saw at the scene of the crash pulled Rhonda out of her car, then the DNA could have been possibly from him. They actually pulled this DNA from the armpits of her sweater, like where you would be lifting somebody out of the car. Investigators continued to follow every lead, and on January 22nd, 1982, in an attempt to boost additional leads, authorities put out a reward for $6,300 for any information leading to the arrest and conviction of the sniper. The reward would grow to $13,000, then to $18,000, and eventually $20,000, where it stands today. In the month after Rhonda was murdered, her mother, Judy, became extremely distraught and lost 20 pounds from not eating.
Oh, wow. Can't blame her. I mean, God, can't imagine these tragedies, man.
I know. She wasn't sleeping, and she would not return to work because she wanted to wait by the phone for any information about who killed Rhonda. Now, Rhonda's father, Bobby, and her brother, Robert Jr., also had a very tough time. They had to be put on medication and both started regularly seeing a psychiatrist. Rhonda's murder took an unbelievable toll on her entire family. The family would do interviews any chance they got in an effort to keep the spotlight on the investigation. They didn't want the public or authorities to forget about Rhonda's death, but at the same time, it was tearing Judy apart. At one point, Judy told the press she felt her daughter was killed because she was just too good for this world. By June of 1982, Judy couldn't stand to be in the house anymore. The memories were just too much. She couldn't even go into Rhonda's room. Robert Jr. tried to help Judy by telling her that Rhonda would want her to live her best life until she could be with Rhonda again someday. Eventually, the family moved to Asheville, North Carolina. And in the first 30 to 60 days of the investigation, letters and comments started pouring into the local newspaper from residents. Some felt that the police were not trying hard enough to solve Rhonda's murder. There were some people that said that they were tired of all the, quote, self-pity that the family was putting out there, which is a little harsh.
What the heck, man? That is way harsh.
And this is before the internet, so they had to write these letters to the editor.
You take that amount of time
to be that petty.
Ridiculous.
Now, some of these writers said that, you know what, the Hensons aren't the only ones who have ever lost a loved one before. I mean, damn.
I don't know. That is insane.
Investigators looked into some claims that Rhonda might have been on the receiving end of some sexual advances from her boyfriend's father, the Reverend. Allegedly, the good Reverend was attracted to Rhonda and had made some unwanted advances on several occasions. It has been theorized that this is why Rhonda would shower at night. You know, because of his position at the church and within the community, he would not have wanted this information to get out.
Absolutely not.
According to this theory, he shot her early that morning. Now, another claim was that she knew someone who was seeing the good Reverend. One of her friends was dating the older married man of the cloth. The Reverend finds out that Rhonda knows and is scared that Rhonda would tell his son and his wife what he was up to. He could not risk losing his family or his career, so he chooses to silence Rhonda forever. Now, these are some wild theories and accusations. Doesn't mean that where there's smoke, there isn't fire, though. Greg was interviewed several times over the years, and he made some interesting comments. During one interview, he told police that Rhonda was to call him as soon as she got to Sherry's, which was just before 12:30 a.m., and he thought that Rhonda would leave right after she hung up the phone and headed home. Investigators at the time said, quote, Greg, you would be well aware that she would be coming up to her house right around 1 a.m. If you wanted to, you could have sat under a bridge and waited, end quote. In a separate interview later on, Greg said he thought the 12:30 call he received was Rhonda saying that she had just got home, and after the call, he went back to bed. When investigators interviewed Greg's father, the Reverend, he told them that while his son Greg was at college, that he would see Rhonda from time to time just to see how she was doing. Nothing more than that. One really strange thing that came out during this interview was that the good Reverend told investigators he retraced Rhonda's drive home that morning after she was killed, which would have been around 2:30 or 3 in the morning. So the morning that she is killed, he decides to retrace her drive. Right. So the Reverend goes on to state that he went to Sherry's house, then he drove towards Rhonda's house. From there, he told investigators the whole route that he took. Investigators asked him how he knew where Sherry lived, and he said that he had to pick up Rhonda one time from there sometime during the fall. Investigators, doing their due diligence, follow up with Sherry, who said he had never come to her home at any time. Anytime Rhonda was at her house, it was after work, with the exception of one time in the fall when she drove up on a Saturday, and then, of course, the night of the Christmas party. But she always had her own vehicle there. She never needed to be picked up. She had that brand new 1981 Datsun. So how did the Reverend know where Sherry lived? Sherry said Rhonda never called anyone from her home for a ride. Investigators looked into some other theories as well. One of those was that the wife of a man that Rhonda was seeing hired a hitman to kill her. Another theory that's kind of grown some legs over the years was that a hitman was hired to kill Rhonda Henson. But he killed the wrong Rhonda Henson. It was supposed it was supposed to be Rhonda Henson from Stallings, North Carolina, who was married to a man named Michael Sackett. Now, there are some gaping holes in these theories. There's no evidence Rhonda was seeing another man. Now, we do have the strange questions that she asked her mother, but as far as I could find and read up on, investigators never found any evidence that she was seeing a married man. If you go with the second theory that there was another Rhonda Henson in North Carolina, Valdez is 70 miles northwest of Charlotte. Stallings is 50 miles southeast of Charlotte. Totally opposite directions. There is also no other information that I could find that would suggest why this other Rhonda Henson would need to be murdered by a hitman. No one who suggests this theory has ever backed it up with, quote, okay, here's why we think a hitman would have been ordered. So it's just, we think it was another Rhonda Henson and because we're just hiring hitmans left and right in the early 80s.
I mean, yeah, I would definitely, if it's a murder, I would definitely lean towards a hitman because that's a pretty hard shot. If you're a woman, don't think I'm sexist, but I'm saying that's a hard shot for a housewife that's been cheated on to make with one shot. You know what I'm trying to say?
No, I totally agree with you. This either, and I think
a shot for anybody to make, much less a woman scorned.
Well, I was going to say, I thought
out of anger. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I thought I had put this in my notes, but you're talking about either someone that is very proficient hunter, knows his rifle in and out, or you're talking about a professional shooter. But anyway, back at it. The last theory is that this was all just a tragic accident. And this is a spotlighting hunter out in the very early morning hours and shoots the rifle and somehow hits Rhonda's car by accident. And it was just a one-off crazy coincidence.
See, now that's something I was leaning towards myself, but I mean, that doesn't explain why she was pulled over.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, and they had said, the people that come up with this theory and where I saw it said that you got the shooter panicking when he hears the car, because the way that it read was that he would have shot at something and she would have crossed his path. And you either have him spotlighting from the underneath that bridge and she just comes around the corner as he pulls the trigger, or he's off in the woods, shoots, misses, and it goes through and doesn't strike anything. But in that situation, you have him going up to the car, realizing he's panicked out. He drives up to see if she's okay, realizes she's dead, pulls her out of the car to make sure she's not breathing, and then never decided to come forward because they didn't want to go to jail.
Right.
And that is one of the more plausible theories. I don't know, man. If you go back to the shot and you're a sniper, your goal is to kill someone. You would not shoot into the trunk hoping it would travel through the trunk, through the back seat, through the back of a seat of the driver, and then kill her.
That's true too.
You would go for a more direct, nothing's going to come in the way of the bullet kind of shot.
Fair.
So over the years, investigators have interviewed hundreds of people, taken in thousands of leads regarding Rhonda's case. Her case file contains several thousand documents. Over the course of the investigation, authorities have had several persons of interest. Those people took polygraphs, but those results and the names of those individuals have never been released. Unsolved Mysteries did air an episode on Rhonda's case in 1989, just like Coach said, season 2, episode 7. There were some new leads that were generated as a result of the show, but they never went anywhere. One thing authorities do have in this case that a lot of cold cases that are unsolved do not have is that DNA from Rhonda's sweater. Now, we don't know what the status of that DNA is and whether or not it's been run against known databases. One thing I did find interesting, obviously, they have some evidence that relates to Rhonda's case, but there's one thing they don't have. Somehow, somebody lost the trunk lid with the bullet in it, or the bullet hole in it. Yeah, this is a damn trunk lid to a Datsun. How do you lose a trunk lid?
I mean, it would probably be quite difficult.
I would assume it would be. But if you have any information about Rhonda Henson's case, please contact the Burke County Sheriff's Office at 828-438-5506. As for my personal theory, I don't know, man. This one's, I kind of go back and forth. There's something to her feeling dirty and coming home to take a shower. There's something to her asking those questions if it was okay to be with a married man.
Definitely.
Or is that related to her being killed? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they interviewed people that she worked with. Are we talking about like a stalker situation where she kind of turns somebody down, they get pissed off and kill her, but that wouldn't account for the questions? I don't know. The hunter is the more plausible kind of situation. I mean, I could see growing up in the 80s, knowing some people that I knew that would go out in the middle of the damn night to spotlight. I don't know. I really don't know. But like I said, that one just seems a little bit more plausible than a sniper was hired to kill her.
It really does to me as well. I think that that's most likely this scenario that happened. And it was just a 1 in a million fluke shot. Because you're right. I mean, why, if you are a hired hitman, why are you going to shoot through the trunk?
Right. That's what I don't understand. If she's traveling, that's another thing. I don't know. I couldn't ever find like satellite pictures of where this was at. Is it one of those situations kind of like Dealey Plaza? Are we talking about he sees her coming towards him and that would have been an easier shot, but he waits until she starts going around the corner and up the hill and shoots her from the back? That doesn't make any sense.
Mm-mm. And I mean, a hitman for a 19-year-old.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. You could have easily just run her off of the road in those curvy ass mountain roads. I mean, it's not, I don't know.
I mean, crazier things have happened, that's for sure. But I mean, hitman for a 19-year-old just doesn't ring true to me. You know what I'm saying? It's just, really?
Oh, I know.
Even if she was seeing your husband, she's 19, there's easier ways to deal with it. Kill your husband. Yeah. She didn't know no better.
Adobe Acrobat Studio, so brand new. Show me all the things PDFs can do. Do your work with ease and speed. PDF Spaces is all you need. Do hours of research in an instant with key insights from an AI assistant. Pick a template with a click. Now your prezzo looks super slick. Close that deal? Yeah, you won. Do that, doing that, did that, done. Now you can do that with Acrobat. Now you can do that with the all-new Acrobat. It's time to do your best work with the all-new Adobe Acrobat Studio.
It is my great honor to welcome you all to Starfleet Academy.
There's never been a better time to enroll in Star Trek.
It's our job to prepare you for the unimaginable. To the night, cadet!
In high-pressure situations, positive reinforcement is crucial to one's success. You're doing a great job.
This is what we train for. These friends of mine, they all live for something bigger than themselves. And that's Starfleet.
Starfleet Academy. New series streaming January 15th on Paramount Plus.
You know?
I agree with you, bro. I agree with you. I have no idea on this one. Like I said, those are my two possible theories there. It's just, unfortunately, it's just awful. It's awful for her family having to get the news like that, but it's also awful for the community and the family to lay her to rest on Christmas Day. It's just awful. Awful, awful, awful.
I'm just curious to know, like, why did they choose Christmas? You know, why not the day after? Why not I don't know. Christmas Day just, I find that extremely sad. I mean, for the fact that they had to do a funeral to begin with, but then, I mean.
Yeah, you forever now, Christmas is not a joyous occasion.
Well, it's not like it would be anyway. Like if they did it on the 26th, it's not going to make it like Christmas is a great day. And you know what I'm trying to say? It's just weird.
Yeah.
I got weird feelings about it. But again, I've never been in that tragic of a situation. Maybe they thought it was appropriate because she really liked Christmas or something. I don't know, you know?
Yeah, that could be it too.
I'm not questioning their decision. I'm just saying, to me, it's just, I don't know. Christmas Day is that just sucks. I mean, I'm so sorry for the mom and the family. That's just terrible.
Yeah, it really is. Well, to keep up with the joyous mood that we're both in now, let us now jump to the case of Tracey Martens.
Another crazy one.
This one is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And on this one, we actually have as I was informed, a 999 call, not a 911 call.
Yeah, you dial 911 in England, you're not going to get nobody.
Good
I think
news.
it was like a quadruple negative. You're not going to get nobody now, never.
Good news for you. I'm not in England. But, ladies and gents, take a listen to this.
Your ambulance can help you.
Hello, yes, please. Could you get an ambulance out to Eton Church?
Eton Church?
Yes, please.
What's the trouble there?
There's a girl that is naked. Looks as if she's been set on fire.
Oh, my goodness. So we've got Condleton Road, Macclesfield. It wouldn't be that one, would it?
Condleton Road, Macclesfield, the village is Eton.
Okay, don't worry, we'll get somebody to you.
It's only about a mile from the ambulance station in Congleton.
All right.
You get the police as well.
We will, certainly.
So that call was placed to 999 just after 4:10 p.m. on December the 23rd, 1994. The man who you heard was Robert Wilson, a resident of Eton, a small village in Cheshire with a population of just over 150. Eton is just over 2 miles northeast of the town of Congleton. Pretty sure I nailed that one. Congleton.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's going to be extremely hard for me not to talk this entire case in a British accent. I'm doing my damn best. Mr. Wilson stated, I want to do it so bad.
You get an awful British accent, though.
I walked down. Really? Just don't crap on my accents?
I'm just saying. It's not great.
So Mr. Wilson stated, I walked into the town to meet my wife. As I passed the church, the entrance to the church, I heard a sound, and then I heard a voice call out. It said, "Will you help me, please?" I turned around and saw her sitting on the steps. She was absolutely brown all over, which I took to be a bodysuit with makeup on. I didn't know what to make of it. I didn't believe it, actually. I thought it was some stupid stunt. And she said they poured petrol on me and set me on fire. She had no clothing left. They were brown smudges and blood in a few places, particularly her feet, end quote. Emergency services arrived at the church and transported the victim to North Staffordshire Hospital in Stoke-on-Trent, where she was in critical condition. She would hang on for around 12 hours before sadly passing away on Christmas Eve. She had sustained burns to 95% of her body. During the final agonizing hours of her life, Tracey Martens bravely provided police with several key details. Ian Maclackland of Congleton Police was the officer who was asked to speak to Tracey during her final hours. He would later state, quote, "I've dealt with quite a number of fatal road accidents. I've never seen anything as bad as the injuries that were caused. She was being fed with a drip, and all the fluids were just coming through her burnt skin, straight through her body and onto the sheets and the bedding," end quote. Bravely, Tracey was able to provide investigators with a detailed account of her attack. Just a few weeks prior to her murder, 31-year-old Tracey had moved from Neshalls, a district in the city of Birmingham, to the town of Rochdale, which is located in Greater Manchester. She lived with her partner, 31-year-old Joey Kavanagh, and the couple's two children, Daniel and Kelly, who were 12 and 11 at the time. Tracey and Joey had met when she was just 16 at a disco in Rochdale. At the time, she was a prize-winning dancer. Joey was the only boyfriend Tracey had ever had. So on the morning of December 22nd, 1994, Tracey left the family home in Rochdale and traveled to Birmingham. She planned to visit family and collect a few items left at her previous residence on Cattell's Grove in Netchels, including benefit books belonging to herself and Joey, which were previously used in the UK to obtain financial welfare payments from the government. Tracey still had a set of keys to the property and had visited several times since moving to collect her mail. It is believed that Tracey initially intended to return home on the same day that she left Rochdale. She would wind up staying with family and visited her old home in Netchels on the 23rd. So she arrives at the property shortly before noon, and soon after getting there, there was a knock at the door. So she answers the door, and as she's opening it, two men burst into the house. They march her outside and force her into the back of a canary yellow M2, which is the British version of the Ford Escort. Now, although it's estimated that just shy of 1 million M2s were produced between 1975 and 1980, by the mid-1990s, many had been scrapped due to age, wear, and just traffic accidents. Canary yellow was not among the most common colors produced, making this vehicle somewhat rare. Even more rare still was the fact that the car had a silver panel on the passenger side. Now, if you look into this case, you can see somebody has done, I guess, like a digital makeup of what this silver panel looks like. It literally looks like they took a piece of sheet metal and just riveted it into the door. Now, the car was in generally poor condition and was also said to have a yellow cuddly toy stuck to one of the rear windows. A white male walking past the house saw Tracey being rushed to the car. He spoke to Tracey asking if she was all right, but did not intervene and was unfortunately never re-interviewed. A blindfold was placed on Tracey, and when she made any attempt to speak with her abductors, she was told to shut up. After traveling over 60 miles north, the car eventually stops at Christchurch in Eton, where Tracey was taken from the car and walked to the church entrance. As one of her abductors restrained Tracey, the other one began pouring petrol from a gas can all over her, striking a match and throwing it toward her. Both men...
that is just...
No, that's not how I want to... I don't want to drown, and I don't want to be burned alive.
It's horrifying. Horrifying.
Yes. Both men quickly fled the scene. Experts estimate that Tracey would have burned for at least 5 excruciating minutes, and despite her screams, no witnesses are reported to have seen the attack take place. Now, Tracey described her attackers as black men approximately 30 years old, heavy-set, 5'4" to 5'7", wearing dark leather jackets and caps. While the two men spoke English with a Birmingham accent, they were also speaking in Jamaican patois during the car ride. Another detail provided to police by Tracey seemed to suggest that the two individuals were in fact looking for her partner, Joey Cavanaugh, prior to abducting her. After barging into the house in Netchels, they repeatedly asked, "Where's Joey?" One of the men checked all of the rooms in the house to see if he was actually there. And you may be asking yourself, why are they looking for Joey?
Well, Joey, he's done some unscrupulous things.
Yeah, Joey was a drug addict, and according to police, he admitted to frequently using crack and heroin, sometimes together.
That's not good. You don't want to go out the way of Chris Farley.
No.
His was cocaine and heroin, but still, crack, heroin. Yeah, I mean, crack, cocaine, it's the same thing.
And at one point, Joey's addiction was costing him nearly 80 pounds per day.
Dang.
My Lord, that's a lot of money.
That is. And you know what? I've always heard they're like, you never heard a crackhead say, well, I don't have enough money for crack today. I'm just going to take it easy. No, they go out and they find a way to get that money.
Oh, I agree.
You know, crackheads will find a way.
Now, it is
that's a lot.
It is widely believed that the family had moved from Nashville to Rochdale because Joey owed money to drug dealers, and he just could not afford to pay. It is also reported that many friends and family members in the Birmingham area were unaware for weeks that Tracey, Joey, and their children had actually moved away. Joey's addiction was a point of contention in the couple's relationship. Tracey was not a drug user and was understandably frustrated by the constant money troubles caused by Joey's drug habit. Due to said drug habit, Joey was unable to hold down a job. Tracey was also furious that Joey would take drugs inside the house with other addicts that he would invite in to partake in his drugs. It has been suggested by police that Joey may have sold drugs and had links to other criminal activities. Now, in the summer of 1994, just months before Tracey's death, it's reported that Joey and Tracey had temporarily split up, with Tracey moving back to Rochdale, with the children to live with her family. During this time, Tracey is said to have begun acting strangely. She apparently started taping the curtains together in the house so they could not be opened. She also taped the mailbox up. A family friend said they believed Tracey was seriously afraid of something or someone. Tracey and Joey resumed their relationship mere weeks after the little split. Despite the strain that Joey's drug use put on their relationship, the pair were set
She must have loved him, man. Like, for real.
Yeah.
Because to put up with that kind of stuff.
She putting up with a lot, that's for sure. So despite the strain that Joey's drug use put on their relationship, the pair were set to get married in March of 1995. You know, the old, I can change him. Investigators were unable to find anything that would make Tracey the target for such a horrific attack. She was well liked, a devoted mother, and is described as keeping to herself. As far as police were concerned, Joey's drug use and links to criminal activity would be the key to identifying the killers. Joey was questioned at length on several occasions after Tracey's murder by several officers, but offered no useful information. As 1995 began, the investigation ramped up with a team of 70 officers led by Detective Sergeant Mick Holland of the Cheshire Police, who stated at a press conference on January the 4th, quote, "We are looking at all considerations, including the possibility that Tracey may have been abducted as a warning to her common-law husband. They may have been bringing her up to Rochdale to look for Joey. Why they decided to kill her, we do not know. We are satisfied she was an innocent party. Maybe they lost their nerve, or maybe it was their intention to send a warning message," end quote. Tracey.
Sure seems like it.
Yeah, I mean, this is, and I know we have dealt with some cases about, you know, if you kill a drug addict, you're not going to get your money back. But if you harm a drug addict's family, it might behoove them to pay up.
Yeah, they could kill her and then say, well, next is your children.
Yeah.
Like,
Tracey's mother, Barbara, and sister Sharon pleaded with the public for anyone with information to come forward. Detective Chief Inspector Steve Cross, also present at the press conference, presented a gas can identical to the one used in the attack, which was left at the scene. It was a red plastic 5-liter Tetra can brand canister with a black nozzle. Now, a few days later, it was reported that 2 men from Birmingham had been detained by police for questioning in relation to Tracey's murder. One of these individuals was promptly released on bail. The other was placed into custody for 7 days. On Friday the 13th of January, 1995, 28-year-old Derek Sylvester Johnson from Briley Hill, which is located on the outskirts of Birmingham, was charged with conspiracy to murder and would go on to spend nearly 3 months in custody before the Crown Prosecution Service dropped the charge.
Golly. 3 months and just, sorry about that.
Yeah, there ain't a whole lot of due process over there.
Apparently not.
Mr. Johnson claimed that he had suffered significant injuries at the hands of the arresting officers. As a result, Mr. Johnson required several stitches and appeared in a wheelchair and a neck brace during several of his court appearances. He must have fallen a couple of times. He claimed to have never heard of either Tracey Martens or Joey Kavanaugh. Joey, as in her husband, Joey Kavanaugh, or not husband, common law.
My bad.
So the specific reasons surrounding his arrest have never been made public. Mr. Johnson publicly threatened to sue the police and demanded an apology. A formal complaint was issued and an inquiry was carried out by the Police Complaints Authority. The results of the inquiry also have never been made public. Numerous appeals for information continued throughout 1995 and early 1996. Updates were few and far between, with the investigation struggling to uncover new leads. Now, during that time, the BBC. To the BBC. They had been working on a documentary that would air in March of 1996 as part of their Modern Times series, bringing further national attention to this case. The episode is titled Tracey, and in it, Joey recounts the events of the murder along with interviews of those closely associated with the case, including the man who found Tracey at Eaton Church, Robert Wilson, one of the nurses tasked with caring for Tracey during her final hours, and a number of investigators. All of the investigating officers who appeared in the program stated it was their belief that Joey knew more than he was willing to say. The documentary also explores the aftermath of Tracey's murder, giving a first-hand account at the devastating impact it had on her family, many of whom were also interviewed, including her sister and her children. Now, the documentary is one of the few times that Joey had spoken publicly about the death of the mother of his children. Prior to this, he had given no interviews, made no appeals for information, and had not participated at any press conferences. Joey was far from impressed with the Modern Times documentary and spoke of his frustration to the Rochdale Observer a week following the first showing. He claimed he and his children were having to move out of town, quote, because of this film, I have been threatened and abused. I have had paint stripper poured over my car and my windows have been smashed. Even worse is the hassle my two children have had at school. Since we moved back to Rochdale over a year ago, they have been in one school and were getting settled in. Now I have no choice but to take them out again. We can't live in this town anymore, end quote. According to young Joey, the producers of the program were disingenuous. Quote, they lied to me all the way. At first, I didn't want to have anything to do with them, but they pestered me and followed me around so much I finally agreed. I did it because I believed them when they said they wanted to help find Tracey's killers and because I had nothing to hide. But when the film came out, it was not about Tracey. It was more about me. They had decided before they started that I was to blame for what happened, and they twisted everything to fit in with that theory, end quote. Despite what police have reportedly stated over the years, Joey explained the reason the family had moved back to Rochdale was because he had been made unneeded at work and that Tracey wanted to be closer to her family. Quote, the film made it look like we moved because I was running away from people I owed money to. I did not owe any money to anyone then, and I do not owe any now. They said I was selling drugs in Birmingham. That is not true. I admit I have taken drugs in the past, and I started taking them again because of the stress of making the film and the memories it brought back, end quote. When they ask him about the interviews he gave to the producers, he states, quote, they edited it so the answers I was giving seemed to be in reply to different questions and changed the meaning of what I was trying to say, end quote. While it is, of course, entirely possible that the filmmakers edited some parts of the documentary to portray young Joey in an unfavorable light, in a number of instances, young Joey repeats the question the interviewer asks, which would indicate he is fully aware of the question he is responding to. Another grievance that Joey shared with the Rochdale Observer was, quote, "They filmed me coming out of the post office and giving money to someone and said I was paying off a debt. In fact, I was giving money to my girlfriend to go shopping." So when Joey is questioned about this during the documentary, he insists that he was giving money to his friend Johnny, repaying for money loaned during a night of drinking. The interviewer bluntly asked if Joey was in fact paying Johnny back for drugs. This question was prompted as the producers captured audio of Joey asking Johnny, "Got any gear with you?" Despite being called out, Joey attempts to tell the interviewer that the conversation never happened and that he doesn't know what the phrase "got any gear with you" even means. Once again, right. You're muted there, Slapnut. You are muted and just talking like hell, aren't you? You're just wearing it out.
I was. I said, I don't know what "got any gear" means either, but it certainly sounds like drug talk.
It sounds like you ain't on the up and up's what it sounds like to me.
Come on, you gonna be that crazy? You gonna be crazy enough to ask a guy for drugs while there's a documentary crew following you?
That's what I don't understand. And they've got, they've got you with either a mic on or they got one of them big old dish looking
mic.
Yeah.
You got a boom mic following you and you're going to ask, "Hey man, you got any drugs?" And then say, "No, I never said that. That conversation didn't happen." Say, "You do know what a camera is, right? Like,
you do know what recording.
It's recording you."
Yes, like we have it for prosperity. So this is just one of several examples of young Joey getting caught in a lie during the filming of the documentary. Although he claims he participated in the documentary because he wanted to support the creators' efforts in finding Tracey's killers, I was not able to find a single instance of him participating in any public press conferences or interviews following his interview with the Rochdale Observer. Ne'er a one. Sadly, it was announced at the end of March in 1996 that the airing of the Modern Times episode had resulted in no significant leads from the public. Now, Mick Holland of the Cheshire Police told the Birmingham Mail that investigators had hoped for a better response after the program aired. It was also revealed that the investigation team had been scaled down with just a handful of officers remaining on the case. Sporadic appeals for information continued over the next 18 months with no new leads coming in, and so an inquest was carried out. Cheshire coroner John Hibbert recorded an open verdict. Now, this is a decision that angered Tracey's brother Mark, who later told reporters, quote, "He should have brought an unlawful killing verdict. There is no way he could bring an open verdict on the evidence we've seen," end quote. Tracey's mother, Barbara, said she understood the position of the coroner, who commented publicly, quote, "I want you to know I'm doing this reluctantly." Now, this is the coroner. If you are
what's an open verdict? Just what does that even mean?
Well, he says that if you're returning a verdict of unlawful killing, you need to have a criminal standard of proof and to be satisfied beyond all reasonable doubt. And the fact that he did an open one is that he felt like the facts presented to him did not warrant that unlawful killing.
She was set on fire.
I don't know how the British law works, but from what I can gather, the way he did it was he left it open. It's an open verdict, which means that if they find the person, that open verdict of his coroner's inquest can be changed to unlawful killing, which would give the courts the ability to seek the death. Well, they don't have the death penalty, but to seek murder charges.
That's crazy.
So as Christmas of 1999 approached, so did the 5th anniversary of Tracey Martin's murder, and it was announced that improved DNA technology was being utilized to try and identify those responsible. It was revealed during a press conference that blood had been found at the house from which Tracey was abducted and on the gas can left at the scene. A reward of £30,000 was offered for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the perpetrators. Tracey's sister Sharon made an emotional plea for information. Poems written by Tracey's children were released to the media in addition to a sketch by her son Daniel, then age 17. Now his poem read, quote, "I sometimes sit and wonder why, but I never know why my mother had to die. I try to think one day they will catch the awful men who lit that match," end quote. His sister Kelly, 16 at the time, wrote the following, quote, "Why did you leave me on that frosty day? Why did you leave me in such a sad way? Why did you leave me? You know I loved you. Why did you leave me? What did I do?" End quote. And like I said, they were 11 and 12 at the time, so they cannot even rationalize what has happened. Now, although DNA testing was slated to take place a month after this appeal in January of 2000, there appeared to be no further reports until a full decade later when the case was featured on the BBC's Crime Watch program in December of 2009. As the 15-year anniversary of Tracey's murder, a dramatic reconstruction of the abduction and murder was shown, followed by pictures of Tracey on her deathbed shortly before she passed away, and images of the shoes she had worn on the day of the attack, completely destroyed by the fire that engulfed her. Tracey's sister Sharon appeared on this episode, describing the day she was told about the murder as the worst day of her life. Kelly, Tracey's daughter, also spoke, describing the days she spent with her mother as some of the best she can remember. Detective Chief Inspector Paul Bailey of the Cheshire Police stated during the episode that authorities were now in possession of a DNA profile and that the public's help was needed to match it to a suspect. When asked what the possible motive was for the murder, Detective Chief Inspector Bailey went on to say that one had not yet been fully established, but reiterated the fact that Tracey's abductors were looking for her partner Joey, and that Joey had told police he owed people money when the family moved from Birmingham to Rochdale in late 1994. Now, DCI Bailey also gave another fresh piece of information stating, quote, "In the 5 weeks between the family leaving Birmingham and going up to Rochdale and Tracey coming down to collect the benefits books, somebody had wrote death on her downstairs window at the address on Cattell's Grove. And we believe that would have been seen by somebody, and we'd appeal to them to come forward," end quote. Now, DCI Bailey would go on to make another direct appeal. Quote, "Shortly after Tracey's death, another couple who owed money for drugs received a very specific threat. If they didn't pay up, they would get what Tracey Martens got. We'd appeal to anybody else who had such specific threats made to come forward," end quote. Here's the problem. You're asking for drug addicts who are purchasing illegal drugs to come forward and tell you, yes, I take illegal drugs and I owe some shady people money because I take said drugs and have bought them from them, but they told me that they were going to set me on fire like Tracey. I don't think you're going to get a whole lot of drug addicts to come forward.
I was thinking you're going to get a whole lot of takers on that.
Now, this show on the BBC is said to have generated a number of calls, providing new leads for detectives to follow up on. However, there were no further updates reported, and so a second appeal was made on Crime Watch just a few years later in May of 2012. The segment began by stating police believe they were closer than ever to a major breakthrough. Detective Sergeant Steve Curry of the Cheshire Police described the response to the previous Crime Watch appeal as massive, and that police were given a possible name for one of the killers as well as a motive for the murder by an anonymous caller who he urged to call again. He appealed specifically for the witness who saw Tracey being abducted from Cattell's Grove to come forward, stating that back in 1994 he would have been 35 to 45 years old, 5'7", stocky build with gray thinning hair. Unfortunately, a lack of new leads has reduced media coverage of the case to little more than annual appeals on the anniversary of Tracey's awful murder. The most recent public appeal was made in December of 2024 as the 30th anniversary approached. It's approaching. In addition to an official appeal made by the Cheshire Police, Tracey's daughter Kelly spoke to a number of media outlets and also participated in a radio piece about the murder for BBC Radio Stokes Secret Staffordshire series. Shit, say that 3 times fast.
What the hell?
Jesus, I'll try that again. It was on the BBC Radio Stokes Secret Staffordshire series. Don't ask me to do it again. I ain't doing it. She stated, quote, "I can't let go until I know why and what's happened and somebody's in court for it. It's just like she's forgotten about, but I cannot forget. Every Christmas it just breaks me again and again, and I don't know how to stop it. I just wish it was a dream. I wish I could wake up again 30 years ago so I could tell her not to go. The night before she died, she said something to me. She looks at me and says, 'If something ever happens to me, go to Nana's or Auntie Sharon's.' I didn't think anything of it at the time, but as an adult, I do wonder whether she knew something was going to happen to her. I've been hospitalized 8 or 9 times in the past because I just want to be with my mom. I still want to get these people brought to justice. We can only do that if we keep talking about it and keeping her name alive." End quote. Police appear to have remained consistent in their belief that Tracey's partner, Joey Cavanaugh, knew more about the murder than he was willing to share. Several officers who appeared in the 1996 Modern Times documentary by the BBC made it clear they felt he was withholding information. They even claimed that Joey had gone out of his way to discourage his friends and associates from talking to police. It is also extremely odd that outside of the documentary and a single interview with the Rochdale Observer newspaper following the program's airing, Joey appears to have made absolutely zero effort to assist with appeals for information. If Joey did know more than he ever revealed, he took those secrets to the grave because he passed away in June of 2020 when doctors found a blood clot on his heart. Police have also stated on numerous occasions that the primary reason for the family's relocation to Rochdale was made in a hurry due to Joey owing a substantial amount of money for drugs, which has, of course, led to speculation that this was the motive for the killing. With that being said, the act of abducting an innocent person and burning them to death for revenge over debts seems not only extreme, but also incredibly precarious for the killers. If this was the case, it would suggest that Tracey's killers wanted to send a strong message, potentially not only to Joey, but to anyone else that may have owed them money. It's also possible that the killer's intention was not to murder Tracey, but to cause her serious injury. It has been stated that Joey was also in the business of dealing drugs in Birmingham, despite him denying this publicly. Could this have contributed to his death, or could he have sold drugs in an area controlled by a particularly territorial gang or group of dealers? It has also been suggested that Joey was involved in criminal activity relating to vehicles, another potential reason he owed money. Now, one theory discussed in the Modern Times documentary by investigators is that the seemingly random location of Eaton Church could have been a meeting point. Was Joey supposed to be there to meet with the men who ended Tracey's life? Geographically, the church is roughly halfway between the family's old home in Netchells and their new home in the town of Rochdale. If Tracey's description of her abductors were accurate, they would now be in their late 50s to early 60s and still at large. The Jamaican dialect in which they spoke could indicate they are no longer in the country. Wherever they're hiding, it seems implausible to think they have made it over 3 decades without confessing to their friends or associates. The fact that police are in possession of DNA from the crime scene means that there is still hope that Tracey's killers will be punished for this horrible crime, and that Kelly and Daniel, along with Tracey's friends and family, will one day be given some sort of closure. If you have any information that could help bring this case to a close, please contact the Cheshire Constabulary by visiting cheshire.police.uk or by phoning the UK non-emergency number 101. So as for me and myself over here, I think Joey took it to the grave who it was.
Yeah, I definitely think he knew more than he's letting on, for sure. And I think that she was just an unfortunate victim of his circumstances. I'm sorry to say it. I'm sorry if the family ever hears this, but that's just my opinion. It sure as heck sounds like it.
And like I said, I understand the police putting out that appeal to, hey, if you've been threatened by being set on fire and said that you would be dealt with like Tracey Martens was, I don't know, unless they come forward with anonymity. I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs of law over there, and could they use that as a possible means to get a warrant? I don't know. I really don't.
I don't either. But it's sad, though. It's a terrible, terrible way to go.
Yeah, and the fact that she was basically put on painkillers and fluids long enough to just let her tell the police what was going on, that's even worse, man.
Right. I mean, you can't blame them. They want
no.
information.
And I'm sure she wanted to let them know what she knew, but man, it's awful.
There's better ways to go.
Yeah, like in my sleep.
Like Richard Pryor's dad.
Yeah, or that too.
If you don't know, he died mid-coitus.
Yeah. He went out with the big bang.
Yeah.
But anyway, let us know what you think, and I'm sure if we have any of our UK listeners, you can just obliterate me on the town's pronunciations. But I did withhold from doing my, in Coach's words, shitty British accent.
They're all shitty. Every British accent's shitty. It's beautiful when it's a natural speaker. Like, it's a beautiful language, even though it's English. You know, there's beautiful accents. But when we Americans try to do it, it's just terrible. Mine's terrible. Don't be so sensitive.
Oh, man. I'm exhausted. But anyway. Recommendations?
Yeah, I'm going to recommend the podcast The Prosecutors. They did a pretty good episode on Bryce Lapicia.
Yeah, Lapicia.
Disappeared in California after some very weird shenanigans that will get you questioning a lot of things, including the actions of his parents. It's just very strange.
Was that a recent episode, or would just search for Bryce?
I think it's a recent episode. Yeah, very recent.
All right, I'll have to give that a listen, because that was a very interesting case we did on him. I did finally break down and buy The American Sasquatch by David Pilatus. There's some interesting new accounts. They have the Freeman guy's son.
Oh, really?
Because Paul Freeman has passed away, but they have his son who is in possession of all of Paul's recordings, notes, casts, and actually Paul had been really interested in Bigfoot for years. I didn't realize he was a Forest Service officer.
I didn't either.
But there's a lot of interesting stuff on that one. They also get into the Ketchum DNA project, and he makes a damn good argument about why you cannot debunk it.
Really?
Yes. And MK Davis is interviewed in it. You know, he's one of the leading ones. I will say they debunk beyond a shadow of a doubt the caribou footage.
Which one's the caribou footage?
Where the IMAX is filming the river and the caribou's crossing the river.
Yeah. I saw that actually today. I came across it on Instagram. Why? Well, how did they do that?
They actually got the actual IMAX footage, high def IMAX camera footage and zoomed in, and you can clearly see that is a man wearing a backpack, and he either is on a bicycle or he is running and falls. But when they zoom in, it is clear as day. That is a man with a backpack on.
Oh, interesting.
So, they get into the portal thing. They get into the cloaking. There's a lady in Pennsylvania wakes up one morning. There's 7 inches of fresh snow on the ground, and there is Bigfoot tracks from underneath her bedroom window into her kid's swing set, and then they disappear.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, there's some new like encounters that you've not heard of, or at least I hadn't heard of, but it's a very good documentary. Very good, very good, very good. It's worth the $3.99.
Where did you get it on Amazon?
Yeah. That's where you get it. Yeah.
My wife's got the Prime. I might have to talk her into it.
It's worth you not going to KFC one time just to get it.
What's it called now?
American Sasquatch. American Sasquatch.
Okay. Don't take away my KFC now.
You just got to skip one day and it pays for itself. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoy this double feature Christmas type episode, even though it will be released after Christmas. Coach, you got anything else?
January 3rd.
I said after Christmas. Damn it. January 3rd's after Christmas.
I was just saying, it'll be released after Christmas. Well, no crap, man. It's January 3rd.
I'm going to need you to take your sassy pants off, mister. You got anything else, Slapnut?
I don't.
Deuces.